Senator Markey, I'm going to follow up on some of your COPPA questions there, since I know you were a big sponsor and passed COPPA in 1998, and I think it went into effect in 2000. This summer, I sent letters to Google, its subsidiary YouTube, MoPub, a subsidiary of Twitter, and Tapjoy, raising concerns about their compliance with the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, known as COPPA. Mr. Chairman, I'd ask unanimous consent to add these letters to the record.
Without objection.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, this committee needs to devote considerable resources and focus on policy to protect children's online privacy. We need to hold a separate hearing on what a future framework that protects children should look like. I mentioned Senator Markey's efforts on COPPA. The Internet and our children's online activity look very different than when COPPA was passed. We didn't have Facebook or Twitter or social media. Our Internet activity was not surreptitiously tracked. We couldn't imagine we would have speakers connected to the Internet in our homes or in our kids' bedrooms. Our laws protecting children's privacy need to keep pace with the technology. Each one of your companies has said publicly or privately that we must push through federal legislation based on a framework that preempts states from passing their own protections. And I'm here to say we cannot push through a weak federal law that preempts states and leaves consumers, especially children, without the necessary safeguards and protections. We must have strong, enforceable laws, and we must continue our partnership with states' attorneys general, who I know from having served as New Mexico's Attorney General, have their ear to the ground and receive a tremendous amount of input from consumers. Now, there are a number of public reports that strongly indicate that there are thousands of apps aimed at children that violate COPPA by tracking their online behavior. Do we all agree there is a potentially serious problem that this is a potentially serious problem deserving of our collective attention? Yeah, yes or no down the line?
Yes, Senator.
Yep.
Yes, Senator.
Yes, Senator.
Yes, Senator.
Yes, Senator.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Enright and Mr. Tribble, Google and Apple dominate the mobile operating system. As such, they are tasked with ensuring that kid-directed apps on both platforms comply with COPPA. A recent New York Times analysis found that both platforms have apps in their respective children's or family sections that may potentially violate COPPA. What specific action does each of your companies take to verify compliance with COPPA in either the App Store or the Google Play Store, respectively? Mr. Enright, Mr. Tribble, please.
Thank you, Senator. And I'd like to thank you for your leadership in drawing attention to this important issue. Protecting children online is a top priority for Google. In connection with the App Store, we actually created the Design for Families program to help identify applications that are kid-directed. We require that third-party developers that submit applications to the App Store identify whether, in fact, their applications are intended for children. And if so, they represent that they comply with the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act and other applicable legal requirements. If we become aware that they've violated those requirements, then they are removed from the Play Store.
Yeah, and do you agree that the studies and the reporting out there show that there are major violations of COPPA?
We rely upon the developers themselves to identify whether or not the content is child-directed. We think that the developers are in the best position to do so, rather than us as the platform operator. But we remain committed to doing all that we can to protect children when they're using our services.
Thank you for that answer. Mr. Tribble?
Yes, we are committed to protecting children when they use our service. And with respect to our App Store, we have very strict guidelines ourselves, consistent with COPPA, and we review every single app before it goes into the store. We review the apps before they get updated. And if we get credible information when an app is out there in the store that it's that it has a problem, we will take action and remove it from the store.
Yeah. I just, in summary, and I thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the courtesies, just a second here. I think this is a very serious problem, and I think that any of you that would like, I'm out of time, but to answer the question or the issues that I've raised on the record, I'd appreciate that. But I hope, Chairman Thune, that we can look into this, because the record seems to be that there's a lot of violation of COPPA across the board, not necessarily just from these companies, but other subsidiaries and others that are operating out in this space. Thank you.